Thank you for having me. It's been a crazy 24 hours, but
Really?
it's good. Yeah, in a good way, I think. So,
Okay.
yeah.
So I don't want to catch you if it's been like some nonsense
Oh,
going on.
oh no, not at all. I bought a car. I've never been in a Tesla before, ever, right? But my friends kept telling me, "You're a gadget dude," because I love like electronics and stuff. And so I bought a Tesla, and I'd never even been in one. They finally delivered it today, which is like a week late, but I'm happy about that. Then one of my biggest idols talked about me yesterday and debunked a myth that I've had for my whole career that gave me the fuel to work as hard as I have my whole career, only for him to finally admit that he didn't sign me was a labor of love. Like Jimmy Jam was doing an interview yesterday,
Mhm.
and I came in on the live and just said that, I made a statement and the interviewer brought me up and he took like 5 minutes to talk about me and how talented I am. Jimmy Jam did. And I'm from Minneapolis, so for him to do that, I literally had tears in my eyes. And I always wonder why he never signed me, because coming up, it was my dream that Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis would sign me. You
Yeah.
know, um, and my cousin worked at FlyTyme. I was like, I just knew Jimmy's gonna sign me, Jimmy, and he didn't. And I felt like he chose another group over us. So my whole career, I felt like I wanted to show him that he should have signed me, like literally, because that was like my idol. Like, people say Prince, and yeah, my mother went to high school with Prince, and that was dope. I love Prince, but he was more alternative, more rock. But I'm from the hood, so it was like Jimmy Terry had the hats and the suits. They was
Yeah.
with Janet. I'm like, no, I'm Jimmy, and I was a writer, so I wanted to be like them. And I never told anybody how much it affected me. Like it almost defeated me, but it made me have this chip on my shoulder my whole career. And when I finally got to work with them on The Best Man, if you listen to the beginning, I'm talking at the end, I'm like, my brother, all that stuff. I made that up because I was trying to impress them.
Mm.
I never told them that. I literally wanted them to go, man, we should have signed this cat. So when he was doing his interview yesterday, he finally said something I never knew. He says, we had a kind of a shaky label situation, and I knew how dope he was, and I didn't want to bring him into that. So that's the real reason he didn't sign me. My whole career, I thought that he didn't think I was good enough.
Yeah.
So literally yesterday, last night, he spoke on. I literally had to post it on my page. I felt like a groupie, but I don't care. It doesn't matter. So it was like, wait. And then he talked about how dope my EP was, because the first single, we sampled Janet, which was a Jimmy and Terry record. I
Hmm.
did it on purpose because my whole career, I just wanted to impress him. I wanted him to go, man, he's dope. And he literally took 5 minutes out of his interview to, well, maybe 3 minutes, but still, I'll take that, to talk about me and like how I affected The Best Man and how I was coaching cats. And you gotta remember, I was the only act that wasn't a solo artist when we did The Best Man. So I was really like nervous, and I just wanted to do my best, make my city proud, and impress Jimmy and Terry. But I'm around these Titans, Tyrese, Genuine Case, and I really wanted to hold my own. But I also was being a cheerleader, coaching them on, and not trying to oversing, just trying to do whatever they needed me to do. And Jimmy, he noticed all that, and I didn't know that. And he talks about it like how many years later. I was just like, so it was. I'm on a high right now. I feel like somebody slipped me a Molly or something. I've never had a Molly, but
He
maybe this is
said,
what
but I
it
assume this is what it would feel like.
is.
Well, I love that we started this off on that note that you're in an amazing mood, and that's funny that you spoke on that because I was sitting here thinking of myself, my own idols in radio or entertainment, things like that, and to see that, now that you're so many years in your career and you got that kind of cosign, I guess, or that feeling of euphoria. Like, what's next now? You check that off your list. You got the reason
Right.
Jimmy Jam. So
I mean, like, really, I'm like, okay, I can rest in peace, but there's so much more work I want to do. I feel like I represent an era, whether
mm,
it's when people see me out, how I look, how I take care of myself, how I take care of my voice, because all it takes is one of us from my era to get the opportunity to shine, for labels and audiences to go, well, you know what? Maybe we need to check out this person. Because I hate to say it, we're almost like in a place of, we're stuck in a place where we're not too old, but we're not young enough.
Hmm.
So, if you listen to radio, honestly, either it's the young cats or you got the throwback old school stations. And if it doesn't have that same dated sound, which is nothing wrong with that,
Hmm.
if it's not Uncle Charlie and stuff like that, or Tank, who's really lucky because he's so dope, um, they don't really want to play you. So it's like we're trying to find our footing in this new generation of music. And we still got some swag left in us, but there's no place for us in the landscape. So we're just trying to make it. So I feel like if one of us makes it, then it opens up the opportunity for all these other talented acts from my era. So whether it's me, whether it's, the 12 with the new project, Jagged, Donnell's coming out with a new project, any of us, I feel like we represent each other on a much larger scale. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Your mom used to say, it's bigger than you. It's bigger than us. It's big.
Yeah.
That's how I really feel about this music thing. So yeah.
It's funny because they sent me your project, the letter J, and I listened to Hold On was my favorite out of them.
Okay.
And the immediate thing we have, so I was born in 1990, right? And
Right.
I grew up on real R&B, I like to call it, because
Right.
now we kind of call, some of the male R&B vocalists like trap R&B. They don't have as
Right.
much romance per se. Um,
Right.
do you think there's room for that, like in this era right now of what R&B is in 2020?
Well, the issue is, okay, I've always said, okay, how do we have all these sold out tours and we're working nonstop, touring? These artists are hungry for music. When I run into, my core audience, they're like, when are you going to do? We need this, what we need. We need this. Truthfully, I think that my core audience hasn't totally caught up to the technology because everybody's not streaming. They might do Pandora with the commercials because they just download the app or something like that. But everybody's not doing, Sirius or what is Jay's thing? I can't remember what it is. Yeah, Tidal or even Apple Music, which is what I use. So it's like you're trying to find a way. They're used to going to the record store on Tuesdays, not even Fridays,
Yeah.
Tuesdays to buy some new music. So now our audience doesn't know how to get it. So if they come to a show and you perform something new, it ain't like they heard it on the radio. So
Mhm.
they're just sitting there like, okay, when are we getting to the records we know? It's not that they don't want new music. It's that they want stuff that they've heard before. And if there's no medium for us to release the new music on, and people will say, well, YouTube and social media, a lot of our audience isn't going on social media to do nothing but, and I hate to say it, but be nosy. Because I do the same. You go
Yeah.
check up on people that you grew up with, or people that laughed at you in high school, or that girl that didn't give you no play. You're like, oh, she gained 30 pounds. Like you're keeping it 100. You're looking for something to entertain yourself, but you're not necessarily looking to go spend money. You know what I'm saying? So it's just something that we're trying to figure out. I think there's always room for love because I think, honestly, a lot of the new artists, there are some talented ones. There are, and don't get me wrong, there's like a lot of great talent, but it's so oversaturated that cats are just trying to put out bulk in bulk, and it's about who's the feature or it's about some crazy subject matter.
Yeah.
And love never goes out of style. That's why the last song on the EP is "When Did Love Go Out of Style." I really don't think it has. I think everybody wants to feel good about themselves and be complimented. But I do think that there's a generation of women now that have been reprogrammed to think it's okay to be like, be this, hold that, and certain things when truthfully it's not. You know what I'm saying? So it's just reprogramming and sticking to our core values, but still having. If you listen, like you said, you listen to the EP, it still is a fine line between trying to sound young and sounding dated. So I still want to give you the 808s and the fly beats and, the cool subjects, but I want to blow a little bit. I want to give you some harmony and some arrangements. So that's what I try to bring to the table. I just want to be myself, but evolved. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Speaking of your audience, and they might not be as technologically advanced, this Sunday I had to be the IT tech for this Verzuz with Miss Patty, Miss Gladys,
Right.
for my household. But they bring up Next all the time when we talk about future versus battles. I'm sure
Right.
you've seen people they propose against you. Are you against that? Is there anybody, if you guys do a versus, that you would favor to go, celebrate music with?
I tell people I really wouldn't want to do a versus. You know, somebody. It was funny because I see somebody like, "Well, H Town will murder next," and blah 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 blah. I don't. I honestly think we're at a disadvantage, and this is not even a flex. But after Butter Love, when Too Close came out, Clive Davis was like, "Okay, we're MTV now. We're going over here."
Mm.
So it's really Black Twitter on versus,
Yeah.
and I'm scared of Black Twitter. Like they will cancel you if you sneeze wrong. Listen, Black. I love my people, but they are. Listen,
They're a
man.
force. I'll say that.
Right. So for me, we're at a disadvantage because our records were. People don't even realize how big our records were and still are. Like as far as airplay internationally and things that we've been able to accomplish. So we wouldn't. I don't see how we could win because the audience that took my record to the heights that they went to probably aren't on there comment, if you know what I'm saying. Like there was people like, oh my God, I love Too Close. I like bought 3 copies. Oh my God, like seriously, I love that song. And white people, like we played that at my sister's wedding, and it just like it went somewhere else. Like, I didn't really understand the impact. I also didn't understand, and I think that's the hardest part about going home is people think the whole world is like their neighborhood. And
Mm.
I've been able to travel and see things and see places and understand how huge music is in the world. But if they're, because see, I'm a cheat. I'm gonna play records I wrote for everybody. We're gonna do it. I'm gonna do it different. I'm about to
If it's
pull
in
in.
your discography accounts, right?
Right. Yeah. Exactly. So, but the only way I would want to do it because if you looked around my house, you wouldn't see that an artist lives here. I don't have any accolades up. My wife has made me put things up in like my studio lounge area because she wanted to do it. But I still live my life like I've had no success because I want so much more.
Mm.
Um, so if we could play new music, we could do that. Or if we are going to do the old records, let's do them live.
Okay.
Let's see if you can, because I'm gonna sing my ass off. Excuse my language. So I really we can do it. Like let's see if you took care of your gift. If the gift, God bless. Let's get up here and really do it. No tune. Let's do it that way. That maybe. But the problem is the name for me. Versus. If it was celebration of music and we just having a party and we like, yeah, we singing along and it's a brotherhood, that's great. But I do honestly feel like in a lot of ways we pit each other and make it a competition. And I'm not trying to compete. I'm trying to unify,
Yeah.
especially with everything that's going on with stuff that happened in my city. That's what I'm for. Because in every interview, to be honest with you, I mentioned Jagged's new project, 112's new project, because the truth is I live by a simple motto. And you're going to use this. You're ready for it.
Okay.
I wish you well. I just wish me better. I want
Yeah.
you to have it all except just a little bit because I want just a little bit more. That's
Mm.
the competitive nature. I want you to be amazingly happy. I want you to have everything. You got a 2021 Benz. I just want a 2025 spaceship. It's that simple. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but I want to see other cats successful. And everybody's not like that. So if I don't like the name verse, I love what Tim and Swizz have done. I think it's an incredible movement, especially with people being at home during the pandemic. It gives you something to break away from. But I, I'm not trying to compete with anybody. I'm trying to compete with myself.
Yeah. I think it's like you said, for a very competitive person, um, it can go either way. You might find yourself, if it did happen, you would find yourself with your peer, with someone you genuinely rock with, and then it's like, oh, you gonna do this? Well, I'm gonna pull this out, and then
Right. But then the memes, I be seeing the memes, and I'm just like, they still showing that Monica when she's walking and doing that little dance like she marching, and I
yeah.
just be like, man, I do not want to be a
I
Jordan
mean,
crying meme. Listen, that is like the biggest fear. Like I'll make a fake, cause I be making faces, and they'd be like, got him. It's like, man, like I love Black Twitter because it's entertaining, but
mhm.
I do not want to be the butt of the joke. They are relentless, man.
I still laugh when I see Teddy Riley across my timeline every time.
And he got mad. I know he's mad at me, and that's my big bro. I know he's mad at me, and I hate that he's mad at me because my jokes and my memes were towards the sound person because I know how meticulous Big
Mm.
Bro is. We've
Mhm.
always said we're brothers because everybody says we look alike or whatever. We were going to do a project years ago called Twin. He asked me to do that. and we've done records for different artists together. He's on a record of mine that never came out. Like, I love him and respect him immensely. What I produce with is because of him. The software I use is because of him. But I think that we're still in some ways dinosaurs when it comes to social media. You don't really understand. You want to use it as a tool, but it can backfire. And
Yeah.
you have to be able to laugh at yourself and laugh along, but people will continue to use it for years. So he didn't respond as much to me
Mm.
after the the verses when the debacle. But I wasn't joking. Me and Jamie were texting. Jamie Foxx were texting back and forth because we were laughing at Breon, who I love, because he's incredible. He's an incredible exec, but people thought he was just a hype man, not knowing. But I was laughing how he was just. But that you want that kind of friend, hyping you
Yeah.
up, like, come on, dancing with you, got the bucket hat on, sweatsuit. But I don't think that. Well, I know that me and Big Bro probably need to have a conversation so he understands where I was coming from. He didn't realize everybody was hitting me because they knew I was going for him.
Yeah.
Face, and I love Face. I was going for Ted because he created a whole genre of music, and because I felt like he had the up tempos. He has a bigger catalog of different type of records for me.
Mm.
And I love Babyface more as a writer though. Teddy's, you doing, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying Babyface doesn't, produce as well, but it was like I felt like Babyface would keep you here. Ted was going to bring you up here to the skating rink, to the barbecue, to the divorce, to the making love, to making up, remarry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he didn't realize that I had to be. I was almost laughing at myself, so people couldn't be in my inbox like, "Yeah, I told you, I told you." So, but it's cool. But yeah, Ted, I love you, Ted. I love you.
We all love you, Ted. I want to hit back on, we spoke a little about, you said you do like, some R&B artists out now, and your project really gives me that, like the romance, so there's something that's missing, I say. Who is who is somebody you wouldn't mind sampling or doing a cover of your work right now, like a modern singer or group?
Ooh, it's hard because whenever somebody acknowledges your work and pays homage to you, you're just happy that they're doing that. Because I remember Too Close, there was a mixed group in London that redid it, and it went #1. They were called Blue. I think it was like 2 black dudes, 2 white dudes,
Mhm.
and I heard it, and I was like, okay, that's dope. It wasn't even about who sung it better or anything. It was about somebody saying, look, we respect you so much and like your work so much that we want to redo it. I have a record now where I sample SWV, and Coco, I've been waiting on her to send me these vocals for this duet for this record where I sample SWV. So I always try to pay homage to artists that I really respect and I like their music. For me, so if somebody does the same for me, even if I don't think it's on par with what I've done, I still love it. Like, perfect example, when dude came up with the "Why You Always Lying." At first, I didn't know how to take it because people were saying stuff like, "Look, he gave your record new life," and that was offensive to me because I get publishing, so I'm like, "Give it new life." Like, we all right, but there's everybody has a little bit of pride. Pride took over. But then I
Yeah.
met him, and we did MTV together with Charlemagne, and he was like, "Man, I love the record. I was leaving the club and they probably played it 10 times, and I just was singing it and changing the words, and I started laughing, and boom." So I literally had a Zoom birthday party in April, and the comedian came into my Zoom party.
Hmm.
The dude that did "Why You Always Lying." So it was like, I just feel honored that cats even think of me. You know what I mean? So if anybody redid something, as long as they didn't change the words to be disrespectful to women or racist or something like that, I'd be cool.
Okay, so we're gonna make that a open call to the Brysons and the and the Chris's.
Hey, the lucky day, and it's funny about Chris
Oh
because I
yeah.
remember when Tina first told me about Chris, and I met him before he blew. I remember him being out here rehearsing at a rehearsal studios in Atlanta, and I was going out of town, and I just told Tina, "Yo, y'all take my truck." Y'all go ahead. They were driving my little range around. So I'm so proud of him. I think he's one of the most talented dudes that ever walked this earth. I think he's too talented sometimes. It's like he's like an evil genius, and I just respect him so much. So there's a lot of young cats. Like I said, Lucky Day. I think he's amazing.
Yeah, I love Lucky Day. I think he's still, a lot of people haven't discovered him yet.
And I think that's why I like him, because that's sometimes it's like a hidden secret. There's a girl named Tiffany Gaucher that I love, because I love her still, but when she became commercial, I felt like she wasn't mine anymore. So I kind of was jealous. So I love Tiffany Gaucher. There's a dude named Thomas, but he spells his name backwards.
Okay.
He's from the country. He's super dope. Like at first I was like weirded out, like because he has his own style. But man, when I tell you I can listen to his music all the time. But I'm a hip hop head, so people don't even understand. I've been listening to Conway all week since his project dropped. So I was a rapper first. I had a record deal for rapping. So for me, I'm listening to rap, country. J Moss is my favorite all time. Him and of course Joe, but I'm always listening to J Moss. But it's early J Moss that nobody's even had. He didn't even have the CD that I got. J Moss doesn't have it. So literally, so I'm just loving old, new, unheard of. Sometimes I'll search SoundCloud and just find some, because I want to be inspired too. I want to steal just a sprinkle. Let me just find out what you season that with. Maybe if we try it on mine, see if the ingredients work a little bit.
You said you'd be on SoundCloud. Have you heard any, because there's producers that make mashups or like reworkings of songs. Have you done any of your work on there yet?
A little bit. There was a guy, I cannot remember his name, because he was doing some stuff. He mashed up like Aaliyah and Rihanna, and it was super dope. And I like contacted him like, yo, how can I have this? I paid for it. He's like, I'll just send it to you. I think that a lot of times, because a lot of artists, you hear from them and they've made it, and you feel like, oh, I heard from this artist, I'm about to be put on. And a lot of us artists, we trying to get put back on. So I don't make empty promises to anybody, but when you do feel like your work has inspired somebody that's had success, it is motivating to go, okay, I'm going in the right direction. So I always try to give props, leave a little message, or say something kind, you know what I mean, or uplifting, or tell them what I noticed, or I see you, and tell other cats about them. So I think that's important.
Yeah, I wanna say that I'm halfway through the project, but I thoroughly enjoy it. I haven't heard any, like you said, bees and hoes or anything. So we good. But
there's only one word I can't get rid of. I can't lie. I tell everybody this. I'm from the Midwest, and it just feels good to say nigga. I can't even lie. Like, and some people are like, why you need to get rid of that word? I'm like, no, we've taken things during history and made it our own, a negative, and turned it into a positive. Yeah. And I feel like for me, that's one of those things. And being from the Midwest, that's just a word for me that I cannot. It just feels good to say it. Like it means so many different things. So that's one word that you'll hear, because I write like I talk, and that's one word you'll hear maybe on one or two songs.
See, I live in the South now. I'm on a whole bunch of stations. I live in Houston, but I'm on in Atlanta, Memphis, some other places. But I'm from like Seattle area, from like Pacific.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah. I don't know. It definitely takes on a different meaning in these two different regions. So I'll say that. But I think I'm like you. I'm like, it don't offend me. Like I am a Black woman, so I don't know.
Right, I got you.
I think the last thing I want to leave off with is for anyone who hasn't picked up your EP yet. Say you have the new generation of fans who are like 18, 19, 20. If they stumble upon your music, what are probably like the top 3 tracks you would want them to listen to really define who RL is?
It's hard to say, because I leave a little bit of me in everything that I do. People will go, oh, I remember the Best Man, Tyrese, and I remember this, or I remember that. I just want people to know that whatever I've been a part of, even if it's a small part, the Tupac joint, Deborah Cox, for them to go, your part was memorable. I heard you. You were unique. You brought something to that. And with the new EP, it's free. I did that. It's almost like me starting at the beginning, like, here's my demo. Because a lot of artists, say, be independent or do this. And truthfully, when you become I've been a parent before I made it. My son's 24, my daughter's 3. But there are decisions you have to make as a man, like, okay, do I put this money towards marketing and promotion or put it away from my daughter's college? Yeah, I mean, those are real life things you have to think about. So a lot of artists say, I want to be independent. I don't, but I didn't go looking for a deal. I wanted to put something out first to remind cats and then say, okay, let me find a machine because I have another project that I'm trying to get out by the end of October called RTV. I'm sitting on so much music. We got the Next by Nature project, which is next to Naughty. That's coming out. We did the Duval, me and my partner B Flat wrote and produced Pull Up for Duval and Ty Dolla $ign.
Oh, yeah.
I'm always just trying to continue to grow, and I want cats to hear it and say, oh, okay, this sounds fresh. It don't sound dated. It don't sound like he's trying to sound young or trying to sound this. It sounds youthful because only in our culture is 40. I'm 43 now, but is that old? You know what I'm saying? I still feel like there's so much left. And again, like I said, earlier, I feel like it just takes one artist to break that threshold to remind cats, like, listen, we still here. We can still do what we do. And it takes just one person to believe in us. And that's why I'm not gonna lie, I feel blessed. And this is not even no game or nothing like that, to be sitting here talking to you. Like, I told you I got a new vehicle, so today was gonna be the first day. My daughter has a tutor now. It's 1 week here with 2 of her old classmates, and then 1 week in one of their houses and another in another house. And I was gonna pick her up today, and her pickup time is 3:00. But I understand that so many people would be so blessed and honored to be on your platform, to be able to use your audience, and for you to allow me to be on here right now. I'm honored. Like, I've been in this game 23 years, and early on, you take things for granted. You're like, oh, I'm always this, or I don't want to do it. Man, listen, to sit down and discuss myself and somebody wanting to give me my flowers or to even hear about what I got going on, that is amazing.
Yeah.
Like, excuse me, I think that putting things in perspective, I want artists to do that. A lot of these new artists, they think it lasts forever. And it can if you put in the work. But what if it doesn't? Don't take any of these moments from you. Sitting right here with you right now, listen, this is amazing. When you're syndicated all over the world, the new Tom Joyner or doing whatever you're trying to do, whatever it is your next move is, and I see it, I can tell people I know, she interviewed. Like, for real, like, she from Seattle. Watch, go look. She gonna say she's from Seattle. How'd I know that though? You see, I didn't grab my, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm keeping it 100. Like, I know what it's like for people to not believe in you. I grew up with low self-esteem. I tried to kill myself my senior year in high school. I know what it's like for people to tell you it's not gonna happen. How do you think this is gonna happen? How? Why you? So for me to be here 23 years later, sitting right here talking to you, this is where I'm supposed to be. This is amazing. It's amazing. Like, this is God. Like, I'm honored. Thank you. Like, you have no idea.
Well, thank you. I can't even match that, but I appreciate as much as you appreciate me, I appreciate you. Because like I said, I was born in 1990, and my brother and sister are both like 15, 16 years older than me. So I've literally listened to you probably all my life.
Oh, that's crazy. I appreciate it, man. And now I feel old. I graduated in 95. That's what, so, but yeah, that's dope. That's the thing about music. Music isn't about your generation. Like, there's music that can cross and just live on forever. My cousin is Philip Bailey from Earth, Wind and Fire. So it ain't like I was born by it when he was still having, major success. But a lot of those songs, they're just timeless, and that's what I want to be a part of. I want to continue to create that. Like, the letter J, of course, because I sampled John B, Jodeci, and Janet. That's why it's called that. That was me paying homage to artists that I respect, producers I respect. And one day, hopefully, people will look at me on that level. You know what I mean?
You there at least like to my generation. So
thank you.
We'll keep pushing it down.
Appreciate it.
To the next ones. Before I let you go, is there anything else? You obviously just released a letter J. Is there anything else you have?
No, I mean, to be honest, I'm just happy. I'm just really, because I was scared to put it out. It took, my team to say, put out some new music. It was really one of my managers and my production partner, because we're sitting on all these records. Like I flipped Butter Love for the album. I got different stuff that no one's heard yet. And you start feeling like, man, like, do I even need to put out new music? Because I know Genuine, who's one of the most humblest cats, talented, said he's just gonna tour. Because why, put all your heart and soul into these new records that you know are amazing pieces of work, but no one will hear them. So I'll just continue to tour and make this money. Why go spend money to make something that people might not hear? And that's sad because there's so many great artists out there that are probably like, well, I'll just tour, and they shouldn't. They got so much life left in them. And my message to them is, don't stop, man.
Yeah.
Keep creating. Keep creating. Because people like you'll interview them, and then your audience will go, well, let me go check that out. And
Yeah.
then they'll tell somebody. So my last thing I do want to say is, if I sat here and did something stupid, or we got into it, and you cursed me out, 1 million people would know about it 10 minutes after the interview went on, right? Let's be honest. Bad news and negativity travels really fast. Well, we're in a time where it's super negative. There's no grace. New music, if it's good, if you like it, tell somebody. Anybody that's watching this, word of mouth really works. If we tell a rumor, we tell some negative gossip. If it's something good, spread that just like we spread negativity.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because that's the only way artists like myself will continue to prosper. If it's whack, tell somebody too. But I'm confident that it's not. So, but I mean that, like, even if it's one person, and tell that person to tell one person, check this out. So I think that that's important, because we are quick to send somebody a link to some from Shade Room or a picture or something like that, or somebody that did something crazy. And we should do the same thing when somebody does something positive.